The Arkansas governor addressing Arkansas's first presumptive positive case of coronavirus. The patient who tested positive this morning is from Pine Bluff and currently in isolation at a hospital. 5 News reporter Nick Camper is live with details on the press conference.
Yeah, thanks, Veronica. I am live outside of the state revenue office here in Springdale. The employees here, along with other government staff throughout the state, are now following a travel restriction. Governor Hutchinson also declared a public health emergency today. He said he's going to sign that executive order later this afternoon. Now, how we got here was the state test confirmed that a patient tested positive for COVID-19. The state says that the patient contracted the virus while traveling out of state, and that's leading Governor Hutchinson to this 60-day out-of-state travel restriction for all government employees. He also says his executive order is to help give public health officials the authority to make the right decisions.
Health experts say that we are nationally past the point of containment and we've moved to mitigation. And so we're doing that here in the state of Arkansas. Thankfully, we don't have what some other states are facing right now, but we want to be as prepared as we can, and we need the public's health to do that.
So the governor says it's now's not the right time to take any action. There's no need to take any action in places like schools or other big public gatherings. He's also, it's now not the time for employees to start working remotely. They do have plans set up for that just in case. Live in Springdale, covering news where you live, Nick Camper, 5 News.
The Arkansas Department of Health also addressing that presumptive case of the coronavirus in Pine Bluff. The ADH says they're working to identify close contacts of the Pine Bluff patient and medical staff who cared for them. The patient was tested overnight and the positive results came in this morning. At this time, they say the threat to the Pine Bluff community and Arkansas as a whole is low. The health department believes the patient contracted the virus by traveling out of the state.
We're working very closely with the hospital to identify any hospital personnel who may have cared for this patient or come in contact with this patient to identify what risk level of exposure they may be.
The ADH says certain people in close contact with the Pine Bluff patient will need to be quarantined. The health department is releasing the gender of the patient or any other information right now.